Hi everyone, welcome to All Four Queens 555. So I've just done one about the Laverian spirit. So I'm just going to say before I start, I've got lots of energies pulling on me. We're in that period of energy going back to people, and so we know that people are in that reap what you sow. And so there's a lot of energies pulling on me, and there's a lot of people that don't want me to speak as well. So please bear with me, and I'll do my best to get it out because God's about truth, and that's what we all stand for, isn't it? And I hope everyone's doing well. Welcome to the channel. It's all about spiritual warfare, healing and awakening. So I just wanted to touch on today a little bit about relationships again. I want to spin it back to relationships again because there was something interesting that I saw on my journey and on my life of what people have been doing, and in terms of how I perceive how my life has played out, really. I say Truman Show, Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty, Hunger Games, The Purge. There's loads. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Welcome to the Imagination. There's loads of films that I can sort of put my life around, really, and there's probably a lot more. But in terms of today's session, I wanted to talk about why people play the game push-pull. Now, from my point of view, I believe my life has been a series of handlers. I don't believe I've had real relationships. I've had a Truman Show situationship where people have come in, been paid to come in, they go out, they come in, they go out, they come in. And I just believe they've been all handlers from some sort of coven, cult or group or whatever. And why do I say that? Because when we're of the light, they know who we are on our birth chart anyway, and they also know our energy. So those that have sat in the same seat as me probably understand that those around you have used your energy and manipulated it and made money off you, basically, for a better word. And I think you can allude to where I'm coming from, especially with the advert that keeps popping up saying click and collect. I think you can get to where I'm coming. And obviously because I moved away, now it's changed everything, because I awakened and God awoke me and the ancestors woke me, and I'm doing what I'm here to do and not being stuck in a cage. So the push-pull, I just want to put this out here because I do think that a lot of people use it and it's very manipulative, I think. But there is a reason as well. There are some psychological reasons behind it. So you can find this on Google. I do have a book called Games People Play as well, and I'll put that in the description. But the people play push-pull in relationships to draw people close only to push them away. This satisfies a deep psychological need or narcissistic control of learnt behaviour from how they were treated. However, we know we are all different and not everyone is the same. Now, I've written that because I'm not sure it's just narcissistic, and I think we talked about, in one of my early ones, I talked about narcissism. Is narcissism a demonic attachment? And I actually think it is, same as psychopaths and sociopaths. I think they are the spirits of some sort of demonic realm, very similar to the spirit of Jezebel and jealousy and envy. So the psychological drivers, attachment styles. This pattern often reflects a clash between an anxious attachment style, fearing abandonment and demanding closeness, and an avoidant attachment style, fearing engulfment and demanding space. Dopamine addiction, the cycle of intense highs, reconciliation and severe lows, withdrawal, triggers addictive chemicals in the brain, creating an artificial sense of passion and intensity. So when you meet people, and I've coached on this before, where they have this relationship where it's a high that brilliant, and then they fall out and then they get back together again, and then they fall out and then they get back together again. Personally, if I'm looking at it from a spiritual perspective, I would say that's an indication that it's not the right relationship, and there's a karmic cycle that needs to be broken there, because they're not fixing anything, they're just staying on a hamster wheel. The fear of vulnerability. People sometimes pull a partner in to feel desired but push them away as soon as things get too real, too general, against to guard against getting hurt. Now, I agree with that, but I also think from a spiritual perspective there's a healing element there. There's something there that for me, I would say there's something within that they need to look at and understand why they feel they need to guard against getting hurt, what happened in the past, what was the trigger that got them to feel hurt in the past, and maybe it wasn't this lifetime, it could be a past lifetime. So there's a trigger there that they need to probably look at, really. Ego boosts. In toxic scenarios, a partner may only want you when they feel like they are losing you. Enjoying the ego boost of winning you back. Now, I think we've all had that, haven't we, where somebody has made such an effort, they've love bomb you to death, and then all of a sudden, as soon as they've got you, the same cycle happens again, and then the same pattern happens, and then they've gone again. Again, ego boost, could you say that again is something they need to look at and understand why they have to operate out of the ego? And we also know that some people operate out of ego from fear. It's like if you look at the distorted masculine and distorted feminine, they operate out of control, oppression, and they operate out of ego, which is fear. So you could say that that's a fear thing as well. While occasionally used as a deliberate manipulative tactic to keep someone hooked, it is much more frequently an unconscious defensive mechanism driven by personal insecurity and past emotional trauma. Understanding the root cause of this dynamic can be tricky without the full content. So I would say that's pretty true, really, isn't it? I mean, if you think about it, some people use it as a manipulative tactic, and I've had people use it on me as a manipulative tactic, but I think as you get older you start to recognise the pattern. When you're younger, you don't, and I think you're just in a different time zone when you're younger and you're figuring life out. When you get older, you start to see the same pattern, and you start to see that it's actually not what you believe it to be. And when you awaken anyway into spirituality, you will start to see patterns on everything. There's a pattern in everything that you see. And then again, someone trying to get you hooked in, I mean, that's just, I personally would say, from a spiritual perspective, but also a physical one, that's probably more emotional abuse, isn't it? You're trying to get someone emotionally attached so that emotionally they're hooked on you. And I think that it can be quite cruel, isn't it? I mean, it's quite abusive, isn't it, really, if you think about it? So you need to look at that as well and make sure that someone's not trying to draw you in emotionally only then to create an emotional trauma bond, and then that's a different kettle of fish, isn't it? So that's something to look at. And when it says unconscious defense mechanism, again, I would say that's something they need to look at from a healing perspective then, if they don't recognise that they're doing it. But then I'd like to think, and when we go back to the attachment styles and the love languages, I'd like to think that people, as we all start to awaken more, we all start to be more mindful of people's attachment styles and understand them, mindful of people's love languages, mindful of the push-pull type scenario, because it can lead into the attachment styles probably. But I hope that we'll have a world where people can communicate more and not sit on things and not discuss it, and hopefully the more people in relationships can communicate effectively, not feedback is great and we all want it, but it's not what you say, it's how you say it, isn't it? And then if people can do that, then hopefully they can find a common ground and they can get to learn each other a bit more, and then that's how you build intimacy, isn't it? We're all different, and it's not saying that people who have different attachment styles and love languages can't be in a relationship. They can, they just need to understand each other's footprint, and then respect it, and then understand that they're not like them and the other person isn't like them. So, and find their way of dealing with the way things that come up in their relationships, and hence that's what coaching's for, isn't it? We're not all perfect and we don't all have the manual, and sometimes a mediator is good for people because it helps people see things they don't see, on a 360. So I'm hoping that will help as part of a relationships type of scenario, linking to the 5 love languages and the attachment styles and the push pull, and just make sure that you're identifying it and you're not being manipulated. You're not being manipulated, but also understand that the other person might be working out fear as well. So hope that helps, and I hope everyone has a great day, and I'll catch you on the next one. So sending you much love and healing, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.